Hello and welcome back. So in this episode I want to just show you some more modeling tricks. I'm going to tab into edit mode and I think I'll just start off by trying to create like a flat screen TV. So I'm going to hit S and Z to scale down on the Z axis, S and Y to scale on the Y axis, and just create kind of like a base for the object. And I want the bottom to be perfectly flat on the ground, so I'm going to select this face and go up here, set that to 0. And maybe the back should come out a little more. Something like that. Control tab to go into face selection mode, pull this down. And maybe the base should come out a little bit like this. Now, I want my changes to happen on both sides, right? So one way I could go about this would be to grab both sides and just scale them away from each other to create this kind of slanted base for the TV. But now, it's a little bit annoying because everything I do, I have to make sure that I'm doing evenly on both sides. So it's not really an ideal situation. So as a quick solution, what I'll do is Control R to create an edge loop. And I'm just going to right click to make sure that goes directly in the center of the object. And now what I'm going to do is delete 1/2 of this object and add a mirror modifier. And that's going to essentially take whatever's on this right side and duplicate it onto the left. So to delete this side, I can go into vertex selection mode, take these 4 vertices and delete them. Now I'm just going to add the mirror modifier, and you can see it's correctly mirroring this across. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you're doing this is if we had started with a normal cube, and whoops, why don't we, I'm tabbing into object modes, and you don't have to follow along here. I'm just going to do this as a quick aside. If I create the edge loop here and delete these 4 vertices, now if I add a mirror modifier to this object, it's not doing anything. Well, why is that? Typically, the mirror modifier is trying to make your model symmetric from left to right, not front to back. And Blender by default sees the y-axis as the forward and backward direction. So that's what it's doing here. It's mirroring on the x-axis, which will go across the y-axis. So if we need it to be symmetric from front to back, just simply check this y-axis checkbox here. So I think that's good to know, because if you were trying to follow along and you didn't realize you were mirroring it the wrong way, it can be frustrating. So anyway, now that we have this mirroring correctly, I'm going to hit Control R to create another edge loop, and I'm going to scroll up so that now there's 2 rings, and then I'm just going to left click without moving the mouse. And then I'm going to hit Control R to create another edge loop. And go into face selection mode, take this face, maybe scale it down on the y-axis like that. E to extrude. E to extrude one more time, right click to leave it in place. Maybe scale it out. And now this is a problem with the mirror modifier. It's now overlapping here. You can see this line crossed the center. And so before we scale this out, we want to make sure we enable clipping, and that's going to prevent any overlapping geometry to some extent. I'm going to scale this down on the y-axis, scale it out on the x-axis, maybe to about there, and then E to extrude that up. And there you go. It's a standard flat screen TV or computer monitor, whatever you want to call it. I think I will also create 2 more edge loops, scale them up on the z-axis, create an edge loop on the side over here. Oh, and I don't want to do that because it's going to go the whole way across the object. It's kind of a waste. So instead I'll just take these 3 here and extrude them like that. And then I could extrude this one in. And you can see we got this weird line in the center. And to resolve that, I think I'm just going to disable the mirror modifier for a second, extrude this in, and maybe just delete this face here. X, delete face. X, delete face. And once again, enable the mirror modifier across the x-axis. Alright, so that I hope that was useful. Basically, we're just using Control-R to create different edge loops and just kind of play with the box we started with. Is there anything else I want to show you in this video? Let's see. I think that's enough information for you to get started on the next project. So my next challenge for you guys is to create a car somewhat like... Oh, I didn't save it, of course. Well, my next challenge for you is to create a car, and I made one as an example, but I did not save it, so I cannot show you. I mean, I guess this will work. Maybe something like this. This isn't the one I was going to show you, but just try to create a very simple car starting with a box, and you don't need to worry about the wheels. Just create kind of like the cab area. That is my challenge for you, and feel free to take a screenshot and upload it somewhere and send it to me. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.